Something many of us have dealt with, getting pulled over while driving them. For young and inexperienced drivers, many don't know how that interaction is supposed to go. Think about it. Now, the Now KC's Mackenzie Nelson takes a look at new legislation that requires teenagers to learn.
I opened up in November of '98.
Joe Harder owns Harder Performance Driving School in Overland Park. For years, he's been teaching young drivers the rules of the road.
Not necessarily what I'm teaching has changed, the students have changed.
In recent years, Harder says students have veered off from basic driving questions. Now he's taking questions geared towards scenarios they could encounter when behind the wheel. That includes traffic stops.
We go over all of that.
While it's not required by law in Kansas or Missouri, Harder feels it's something everyone should learn.
My brother happens to be a Shawnee police officer, and he kind of coaches me on what he needs the students to do.
A new state law in Texas requires high school students to take a class and watch a 16-minute video on how to deal with law enforcement during a traffic stop. Without the class, students can't graduate.
I think that's a pretty good idea, and just for everybody's safety, there's a handful of do's and don'ts that everybody needs to know.
The video shows a reenactment of two girls being pulled over for speeding and the officer explaining to them what to do next.
We know it could be a nerve-wracking situation.
Sergeant Colin Stossberg with Missouri Highway Patrol says most teens get pulled over for distracted driving or speeding. Oftentimes, he says teens don't know what to do next.
Always yield to the right. Make sure that your hands are where we can see them, and be prepared to provide your license and insurance.
In Missouri, driver's ed is not mandatory, so young drivers aren't getting the same experience as teens in Kansas. In Missouri, legislation similar to the one in Texas was brought up last year and failed. People like Harder believe it's something that needs to pass on both sides of the state line.
For the overall being of the state, it is going to benefit them.
In Kansas City, Mackenzie Nelson for the Now KC.
And as a parent of a kid who will soon learn how to drive, don't you go, oh yeah, that would be good to know. Now, to check out the video being shown to Texas students, we've got it on our website, kshb.com.